Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be watching me from. Okay, so this is Real Estate Matters with the late Billionaire Realtor Mercy Gimo from JM Harvey Realtor Limited. I'm sorry, we are meant to start around 6 p.m. because today is Shiloh. Thank you, Ma, for joining. Shiloh starts today, so I was trying to round up on time to join the program around 7 p.m. So God help us. Okay, first off, I want to thank all our clients. Okay, I got an award, top 4 realtors. I've been graded as a Landway brand. I've been graded the broker. I came top 4 because of you, our clients, and I want to say thank you for your patronage, for your continuous trust in us and the brand JM Harvey Realtor Limited. This is really appreciated, and I want to use this platform to say thank you all. Okay, so today on Real Estate Matters with the Lady Billionaire Realtor, thank you, Madonna Holmes. Thank you for your support every time. Thank you, Mr. Toby. I can see you. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so this is Real Estate Matters with the Lady Billionaire Realtor, where we talk about things generally about real estate in Lagos, Nigeria. Yes, more than the conqueror. So it's today I have to round up very fast and join the program. Okay, so today we'll be talking about what you need to know when you want to buy a land, or you need to know when you want to buy a land in Lagos. Lekki, Ibejuleki, Aja, Ikoyi, generally all that you need to know when you're buying a land. Okay, so there's no time to because we're already behind schedule. Okay, so in this part of the world, we all know that before now, once you get to a certain age, you also have bought a land. And that's how you see, maybe at the time I was growing up, you see that some people who were living, you know, they were living in as tenants. They tell you, they are moving to their house, or you know, it was a norm. People save money, they buy land, and they start building their house. Before you know it, they move into their houses. So that was really very common before, you know, houses started being on sale. Before now, it was just people have to buy land and build their houses themselves. And so in the past, that was the norm, you know, buy a land, you know, for retirement, so you don't have to bother about paying rent. You know, when you get to a certain age, at that time you were already retired, so you won't be getting, you know, that funds to be paying your rent. So it makes a lot of sense to have a roof over your head, to build your own house. And so that was how it was at that time. But in this age and time, buying land is not just for the purpose of having a roof over your head, or for the purpose of, I just want to be my own landlord and the rest of it. It has gone beyond that stage. It is now an investment. You know, apart from the fact that it's one of the surest investments, a lot of people who have invested in land can testify how they have made profit. So you can make profit from buying land. You can make profit from investing in land. The benefits are many when you talk about buying land. So it's not like the olden days where people just buy land for the purpose of, you know, farming, for the purpose of having a roof over their head, you know, prepare for retirement and all that. It has gone beyond that. People buy land for investment purpose now. And so, you know, because you are buying it for investments, at times, in fact, most of the people who buy properties now, they are not even residents in Nigeria. They are buying it for, you know, for retirement purpose. They are buying it as an investment. They want to make some money from it. And so because it is even capital intensive, land is not cheap. There's no cheap land anywhere. Even the cheapest land, you've worked so hard for your money. It is not like you were just dashed the money. So you work so hard for your money. So when you want to buy land, there are certain things that you need to know. You need to do your due diligence. Thank you for joining. Thank you. I really appreciate. And so because it is capital intensive, you have to do your due diligence before there are certain things that you need to know before buying that land. Anywhere you are looking at buying land in Lagos. Okay, so we're just going to go right away. Like I said, we're working with time. Okay, yeah. Okay, so when you want to buy a land, you must consider your budget. Budget is very important when you want to buy a land. You must know what you have saved, what you can come up with before you buy a land, and that will determine the location where that land will be, your budget. You know, at times people just want to buy. I think I should buy a land. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate. Thumbs up. You know, but you must have a budget. If you want to buy land in Lagos, you must have a budget. You must work with a budget, not just, oh, I want to buy a land. I'm ready to buy a land. So where is land? Okay, like yesterday I was chatting with a client. Actually, they wanted to buy a house, but you know, the budget is low, so they wanted a particular location, and they asked me for land in that area, and I said land in this area is expensive, and that's why the houses, because they were requesting for houses in that area, I said that's why the houses are expensive. So for 300 plots, the cheapest 300 square meter, that is half plots, it was going for about 18.5 million naira, and so they were like, that's too expensive now. We're talking like the houses. I said that's why the house is expensive. Okay, so you must have a budget before you buy into that land. Budget is the first thing to be considered when buying a land. It does not matter if you have determined to buy a land in Lagos or any other parts of the country. The most important thing is having a budget. Okay, budget is very important. You must have a budget. And for instance, if you are looking at a particular area and you have not, you know, you've not been able to raise that amount that is sold for that area, you look at for areas where you can make payment plan, and so with that you'll be able to, you know, meet up. Okay, so you must have a budget when you're looking at buying a land. Budget is very important. Number two, key when you want to buy a land in Lagos is location. Thank you, House of Karen. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate. Thumbs up. Okay, location. Location cannot be overemphasized because it determines so many things. For instance, if you're buying for investment, or even if you're buying to live there, you wouldn't want to live in a place where you don't have access to certain amenities. You wouldn't want to live in a place because, for instance, at times, no matter where you live, at times you tend to get, after a while, you begin to get weary of that area, no matter how fine that place is. That's why you see that certain kind of people, after they've lived somewhere for a while, they sell the property and, you know, get another one. So even if you're buying that land for yourself, location is very, very important. Location is one of the oldest real estate adage and also the most basic concern in land purchasing. So no matter what property you are purchasing or why you are buying it, nothing is more important than location. It affects the value. For instance, you're buying it for an investment, it affects the value. Okay, I think in one of my live sessions, I shared one of my clients who bought into a property. She bought that property, I think, around 2019. This is 2018, okay? This is 2021. And she wanted to sell the property. And okay, she said, okay, Mercy, come and check this property. I need to sell this property. I said, okay, mommy, I will find time. And I eventually went there to check out the property. And when I got there, I saw that the location was wrong. Imagine a property that was bought in 2018. She wants to sell it for the price she bought it. She bought that property 18 million naira. And she said, I just want my money back, you know, because that location was very wrong. And apart from the location, the developers, thank you for joining. Thank you. I really appreciate. Thumbs up. Okay, the location was wrong. So if you get location wrong when you're buying land, in fact, you might, if they said in fact that real estate always appreciates, but location, I will always emphasize location, location, location. It affects the value. So when you're looking at buying, you have to look at if that place has access road, if there's good access road, if there's good road network. Okay, for instance, now in my estate, we have about 1, 2, 3 entrances network, you know. So at times, if there's traffic somewhere, we say, let's go and pass this place. Okay, so you must, you know, it's not like some places that there's just one entrance. Okay, so the road network to that place must also be, you know, considered when you're looking at location. Also, proper urban planning of the area. You know, there are some areas that you go to, you see people just build their houses scattered everywhere. There's no planning, there's no drainage, there's no road. So when you're buying land, especially for investment, or even if you want to live there, because you don't want to you don't want to build your house somewhere that's everywhere, it's just everybody just builds their houses anyhow. No, government, at times, areas like that, government always come and say, these people did not follow proper planning, they'll just clear everybody's house. So when you're looking at buying a land, you consider the location, you consider proper urban planning of that area, good drainage, I mentioned that earlier, proximity to an economic business epic center, okay, proximity to the market. You know, at times, some people, when they are coming back, say, buy everything that you need to buy on the road. Oh, thank you all for joining. I really appreciate Tonia. Thank you. Vulcan Studio, I appreciate. Thank you. You know, some people are coming back from, say, please go to the, they will call them, say, go to the market. So, you know, when you come here, you won't see anything to buy. They have to be, the market has to be closed. We should look out for hospitals. There must be pharmacy around. Okay? So when you're buying any land, location is very important. All these things I have mentioned will bring about resale value. For instance, you want to sell it. Those things help that property, you know, to get a good price when you want to sell it. Okay, so let's go for that. I've talked about looking, when you're buying land in Lagos, you must have a budget, then location, then number 3, land appreciation. Okay, when you're buying land, just like the example I gave about that woman, though it was a property she bought, you must consider that area. Because in terms of land, there are some places that the prices is still very low. Despite the fact that land always appreciates, even if that area is not so good, it will always appreciate. You can't sell it for the price you bought it. Okay. I was somewhere on Sunday, and so these people bought land, I think around 2010 or thereabouts. 2010, I think they bought it for like 300 or thereabouts thousand, and the current value of that place is like 1 point something million. You can imagine how many years, though it has appreciated, but there are some places that you buy, you get almost 500% on your land investment. So land appreciation, location also counts when you're buying a land. You must look out for this land. Is it going to appreciate? What's the indices around that area that will help this property to appreciate? Thank you all for joining. I really appreciate. Okay, let's go for the purpose of buying the land. Okay, you must determine why you are buying that land. Are you buying it for residential purpose? Are you buying it for commercial purpose? When we say commercial can mean, you know, buying it for the purpose of building a house and putting it up for rent. That's also because you are getting income from it. It can also mean buying it in a strategic location to build, you know, shopping complex or office spaces. So you must determine why you're buying that land. Are you buying the land, okay, just for yourself and your family, to build a home for yourself? So when you're buying land in Lagos, you must determine what you want to, the reason why you're buying that land, either is for commercial purpose or for residential purpose. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just rushing. I'm rushing to Shiloh. Okay, so number 5, basic document that must accompany the land you are buying to guarantee ownership. When I started earlier, I said land doesn't come cheap. Even the cheapest of them all, you have worked so hard for your money, you have saved a lot of money, you know, you have brought out a huge sum to buy land, so you must look at, this is the most important, one of the most important, because every one of them is important. Okay, the documents covering that land, the documents covering that land. We've had a lot of people tell us that, you know, after they bought land, they come to us, okay, see the problem I'm facing, what do I do now? And we begin to ask questions. Thank you for joining. I know of Lagos Realty. Thank you. Okay, and you see, then we say, okay, what's the title on that? Do you have a receipt? Do you have a registered survey? And they say, which one is that one again? They don't even know. And most people have lost land that they have bought. So when you're buying land in Lagos, documents, you must look out for this set of documents I'm going to talk about now. Purchase receipts. Purchase receipts. Okay, you must ask wherever you buy that land from. Like in one of my live sessions, I talked about it is better to buy land from company that's the estates than buying from individuals or otherwise known as omonile. Okay, it is better, it is safer. If you go through my post, you will see that video. Purchase receipt. So when you buy a land, they should give you a receipt stating the exact amount you paid, stating what you bought that land for. For instance, you made a deposit. If, for instance, you're making a deposit, okay, you paid 3 million naira. A receipt should come in the the company name. There should be a receipt that says, okay, being initial deposit 3 million paid for one plot of land in Abramadesaya, so estates. Okay, it should be expressly written when you buy a land. Make sure you get a receipt. It is very, very important. Okay, number 2 documents under basic document that must accompany a land when you're buying land. Number 2 documents is that land must have a registered survey. This registered survey shows clearly whether the land is free from government acquisition or not. In one of my live sections, I talked about a friend of mine from the US. She wanted to buy a land and she contacted me. The land was pretty cheap, okay, around Abidjan area. And she contacted me and I said, okay, they should send me the survey so that I can take a look at it. Then we're going to we'll continue from there. And when they sent that survey to me, on that survey it was written, the land is under government acquisition. So if you want to buy a land, thank you for joining, Charlie. I really appreciate. Thumbs up. Okay, if you want to buy a land, ask for the registered survey. The registered survey will tell you the status of that land. If that land is under government acquisition, it will be stated there. And so that survey was carried under government acquisition. And when I began to, interview the person that wanted to sell this land to my friend, he said the land is okay. I said, okay, there's no point arguing. I brought out several surveys, registered survey, and I showed him it will be written free from government acquisition. So when you want to buy a land, ask for the registered survey. The status of the land will be stated in that registered survey because it has gone through Ministry of Lands in Alausa, Ikeja. Okay. So another document that you should ask for when you buy a land is the deed of assignment. The deed of assignment. Okay, this is a document that shows the relationship between, the seller and the buyer. Okay, these are some of the documents that you will also collect when you have eventually bought the land. But a deed of assignment shows the trace of who actually owns that property. Okay, it is stated in the deed of assignment. For instance, in my last week live section, I talked about a property that a client of mine bought, a house, and when I saw the deed of assignment, I saw one of the popular footballers. He was the owner of that land. And how did I get to that? From the deed of assignment, you will see how far the owners, the original owners, you will see just the traces, especially if the current seller has not done their own governor's consent. Okay, so there must be a deed of assignment when you're buying a land. And when you eventually buy, you will get a receipt, you will get a registered survey. These things, they pay for it. Oh. For receipt, you don't pay for it. But for, what's it called now? Survey, you pay for survey. At times, some clients will tell me that, why can they put the money? Chibi is everything I'm supposed to be paying for now. The land, I've paid for land. Why should I pay for survey? You have to pay for survey to get a registered survey. Remember, this survey, it is registered in Lagos State. And for instance, you want to check the status of your land and you go to Alausa, you see that your name is already there. Okay, so you pay for your survey, you pay for deed of assignment. Deed of assignment is a legal title document that will be issued to you when you buy a land. But the first things you get when you buy a land is receipts, contract of sale, then before you get your survey and your deed of assignment. I'm talking in this context of before you buy it, these are the documents that you should ask for to be able to verify if that property is authentic. Okay. So number 4 title is a valid root title document. A valid root title document. This is the original title of the entire land from which you are buying. You know, evidence of this must be mentioned or attached to your deed of assignment. Okay, in your deed of assignment, if that land has, for instance, an excision, it will be, you know, quoted in that deed of assignment. So if you want to buy any land, it must have a root title. A lot of people are suffering demolition from the government because when they bought the land, it doesn't have a title. They did not check out for all these documents. So when we talk about root title, we'll talk about CFO or governor's consent. CFO is given by the governor, by the government. The governor's consent is signed by the governor of that state, Lagos State, okay? Because according to the Land Act, the governor are they have authority over the land. Okay, then a gazette and an excision. So if you're buying a land, make sure it has a root title. Either it has an excision. Excision is a title document, you know, like I mentioned, the government is the owner of all land. But because the original owners, who are the family, people, the indigenous of that place, the government excised some portion of that land to them. And that's why you say, oh, this area has an excision. The government has excised that portion of land to them. And so they can now sell to other people. So when you see that, this land has excision, that means it has a title. The gazette is when that excision is published in a gazette. Okay, so for any land you want to buy, make sure it has at least an excision, gazette, governor's consent, or CFO. At times, people will say, we should have a CFO. That's why you see that CFO land is usually more expensive than an excision and a gazette because you pay serious money when a property has a CFO or governor's consent because they pay a lot of money. So even if you have a land that has a gazette, you can still go ahead to get a governor's consent on that land. Okay, so number 5 or number 6 the mode of payments. When you want to buy a land, don't go to the bank, you know, and get cash and now pay. What I mean is, it is better you do a transfer or you do a bank draft so that money can be traceable. You know, when you go to the bank and make payments, the person can say, I didn't receive it, I didn't get a lot. But when you do a transfer or you do a bank draft, that amount, that's why you see that most times when people want to buy properties, they prefer to do bank drafts or transfer. Okay, so when you are buying land, make sure you do transfer or bank drafts. Okay, most times, most companies prefer that you do a bank transfer. Okay, so that your payments can be traceable in the case of any events like maybe fraud or something. They can trace wherever that money entered his or account. Okay, and so that's all I have for us today. Please, if we have any questions, I'll be glad to take your questions. We talked about what you need to know when you're buying land in Lagos, and we talked about some points that you must have a budget, you must consider the location when you're buying land. We also talk about the appreciation value. Consider how that place you're buying that land, if the land appreciates in value over a period of time. We also talked about you should know why you are buying the land. Are you buying it for commercial purpose or residential purpose? And we also talked about basic documents. This is very, very important that you should look out for when you buy a land. You're also going to get those documents. You must have a receipt before you buy that land. When you're doing your due diligence, you ask for the receipt, the deed of assignment, the registered survey, and the root title of that property. But when you buy, what you are given is a receipt, contract of sale, deed of assignment, and that's it. Deed of assignment. The root title would be quoted in that deed of assignment. Then you can now go further to go and perfect in your name, maybe a governor's consent or whichever you want to do. Okay, so thank you all once again for joining us this evening. I really, really appreciate. So we have a lot of land selling for as low as 850,000 in Ekpe. That's our Ibudo Estate. Is a pre-launch price, so 850,000. From the 11th of this month, the price goes to 1.5 million naira. You can key into that. We also have a Lagoon Front Estate in Ekpe selling for 7.5 million naira. Initial deposit is 500,000, and balance can be spread up to 18 months. We also have in Abramadesaya here, we have Urban Prime 5 selling at a pre-launch price at 65,000 per square meter instead of 90,000 per square meter. So from the 10th, price changes. Okay, so for any land investment you want to buy, you can contact us. Integrity is our mantra. You can be sure that we'll put all the cards on the table and make sure you get the best investment. If you're looking to buy a house as well, we are in here for you. Okay, so thank you all for joining me in this live section. I really appreciate. I will expect your questions. If you don't want to drop it, you can send us a DM. For my YouTubers, please drop your message. I'll be glad to take them. Okay, remember to follow us on all our social media platforms. JM Harvey Realty, my personal YouTube channel is Mercy Gimo, and our company YouTube channel is JM Harvey Realty Limited. Thank you all, and please have a good evening. I also want to invite you to Shiloh. It starts today. More than conqueror, it promised to be a blessing. All right, have a blessed evening, have a good morning, and have a good afternoon. Bye-bye. Thank you all.